Hello, everybody. Thank you for participating in the Plone conference in my behalf. My name is Miro Paananen, and I will be your host here at the beta room. Our first talk of the day is going to be a panel discussion on Plone Add-on, and it's going to be hosted by Sally Kleinfeldt. Take it away.
And
Can we
name perfectly.
Can we have applause for Sally?
Thanks. Okay, so I volunteered to do this. Érico, it's his fault. It was his idea. But we've had add-ons in the Plone community since I think the very, very first day. Alan's not here, but he could probably tell us. Like in the beginning, plone.org was the place where the add-ons were hosted or, published because there was no GitHub and there was no PyPy. And that's what we had. So, add-ons are an important part. It's important to have an ecosystem of add-ons for any sort of big system like Plone, and Plone has it. So they're still important. 2 decades later, things have changed. We now have, 2 different ways of doing Plone, and with React we have front end, back end, and so things are moving along. So we thought it was a good idea to tell you all about what's new in Plone add-ons. So I'm not sure how to kick this off. Does somebody want to give a little history of how it used to be, or do you want to just dive right into the new stuff? Or you can tell we didn't pre-prepare exactly what we're going to do here, but okay, Érico's volunteering.
If I was the culprit for this, so at least let me take the blame. When I suggested this, the whole point was the fact that we are venturing into a new world. If you look at many other CMSs and other communities, they do not have the same approach we do with backend and frontend. And for quite a while, we had a gold standard of how we create an add-on in the backend. There was like Zopscale and other stuff, other tools, Mr. Bob and whatever, that would create the add-on. You would have your tests, and then you would put the travis.ci file there to do the testing and so on and so forth. And then were changed. And now we are all on GitHub, and we have GitHub Actions, and then we have different frameworks to write tests on the backend. We have now front-end stuff. Everything got a little bit more complex. And I do remember back in the day, 2010 or 11 or 12 actually, it's so long ago. We created one distribution of Plone called Portal Padrão, and one of the things we implemented there, because it was really important, it was for government sites, we needed to have accessibility tests. So we implemented accessibility tests with robot framework. On a Python package with the ASO and so on, we would compute the contrast level of stuff and so on and so forth, and that was amazing. It would take hours to run. But it was important because it's quality, right? And it was great. Everyone was happy. This solution is still used like 14 years later. I'm going to give a talk later today with Jakob about how to migrate from that to newest stuff. But then we come back, we go back to the situation we have now. And if you're only doing classic, it's kind of fine because you can use Playwright, you can do whatever, all the tests and so on and so forth. You do your quality, you write a decent README, and life goes on. But over time, something happened. There's Volto, and the Volto, let's create a Volto add-on. And we have, do we publish a storybook or not for the add-on? Do we run acceptance tests? And do we have unit tests? And so on. And things got like complex and complex and complex. If I'm talking only about the Volto, the React package, and then the first time I realized this would happen was thanks to you and Red Turtle, when they released something called Volto Form Support. oh, Volto form support is amazing, but it requires a backend package. Right, and now I have to install collective.volto.form support, and I have to install Volto form support. Yeah, form block, right? Which version? And yes, and how often do they change, and how to? And for a while, that was kind of my question internally, like, how do we solve this? But it's just them. It's just one package. And then I found out about collective bookmarks, and then collective taxonomy. And then it kept going and going and going. At some point at Kit Concept, we found ourselves in the same situation. We need to release a backend package too. How do we handle this complexity now? And what is the gold standard for creating an add-on? I do not remember how many times I complained to Alin, because I want to use this EA block. It looks amazing, and then I go to the README, and the GIF is not working, so I have no idea. I have to test it, and then there's no colors, and so on and so forth. And the first time I talked to him, he basically said, "Oh, everything works if you use with EA KitKat." And I'm kind of, okay, but really, I don't want to go all in. I just want the timeline block. And then he goes and make that work, and it's perfect. And then someone comes to him and, oh, I need the translation to Spanish, and now I need the translation to Portuguese. And now we reached the point now that at least looking not as a developer, but as an integrator that basically wants to pick a bunch of add-ons and put, it's really complex to find out how things work and so on and so forth, because we do not have like a standard way of adding a README for the package and so on. And then thinking about as a developer, how do we guarantee quality for this? How do we kind of communicate, oh, there's a new front-end and back-end package that need to be developed together? And how do we actually write acceptance tests or storybook for like the front-end stuff? These are challenges that, looking from outside, they seem like, okay, but when I am the one developing, it gets like overwhelming. And David is here, and he knows every time we try to improve a little bit, we get something else, like a new version of something. And it's kind of a complex situation. It's hard to maintain in the long run, right? So it's about, nowadays, we have a bigger offer of add-ons. They are amazing. They cover so many use cases. But most of the time, they are not translated, right? They are not documented. They are not publicized. Oh, there's also Volto. And then I realized that I did not add any of the 10 add-ons I released in the last 2 years there. And we do not have like a clear way of testing this stuff. So the question here is, how do we move from here? And how do we make sure that we provide, like, people looking from outside, oh, I want to have this, a better experience?
Could I just, I realized I was bad at the beginning and didn't introduce you guys. Ooh. That was Érico, André, and maybe as you guys talk, you can introduce yourself and just say a word about like your history in Plone, because you know a lot of people here, but not everybody, so that would be great. So do you want to respond to, this is Piero. So Érico is from Brazil, Piero is from Italy, and yeah.
Yeah, several interesting points there. Quality, but especially, I believe one of the most important things is actually being able to find the add-ons. Like, there's a lot of add-ons out there. I have no idea actually how many, and I believe I probably know about I don't know, 15% of them, 20. And I made an effort throughout the years to test, like, I don't know, the whole KitKat package from EEA. I did some testing on it 3 years ago. Whatever happened in the last 3 years, I have no clue. And I guess quality is an issue, but I believe that if we make sure that the community can find the add-ons, it will like indirectly improve the quality as well, right? Because the more people try it, use it, at least you can get feedback. Like the bare minimum is you can get feedback, right? So I guess the first thing I'd say here, if you're trying somebody else's add-on, let them know. Like baseline, let them know. Maybe add a few words about what was good and what could be improved, even not providing a pull request, whatever. And of course, on the other hand, be open to receiving such feedback because, of course, I mean, it happened to me that somebody tried, not sure if it was exactly the form block or another add-on, and then told me, it's great, there's no tests. And I'm like, oops. I mean, yeah, it happened. But knowing that somebody else was using, I mean, I didn't like go straight into adding all the tests, but that opened a discussion, that opened an opportunity to improve that, right? So I think first step is being able to find and actually communicate what you're doing, what you're using. Yes, we need to update Awesome Volto, but I'm not sure even everybody knows there exists such a thing. Yeah. Awesome Volto is a repository, which is basically one documentation page with a list of the add-ons that people like when I create an add-on, I can add it there because I think it's awesome. I think it can be useful for other people, right? And if it's any add-on, don't be confused or scared by the word awesome. If an add-on is possibly useful for at least one other person, that is awesome because that's open source, right? And it will find more usage or improvements or whatever from the outside, right? So that's my take on the situation.
Yeah, I'm Victor from Spain, from Barcelona. Yes. I'd say that in the last years, publishing an add-on has been, it requires a great effort. I mean, it's a great responsibility. It's like, but it requires a great effort because, and you have to be up to that effort. And I have to recognize that, for example, it's hard sometimes. Right? And for example, on our add-ons, we try to keep them also up to date, but it's not enough just to make them work, right? And since you are using it in a daily basis, yeah, you know that works fine. But it's what Érico said. I mean, it's maintaining documentation, maintaining CI, maintaining the storybook, make them noticeable, right? What we said, put it in Awesome Volto. Make a screencast maybe to demonstrate how it works. Example content, for example, for VLT in our add-ons we have the VLT side, but often you go there and say, oh, we forgot to create the example content for that new thing that we did, right? And then it's outdated and people doesn't know about it, right? And I don't know, a variation or on a blog or whatever. And yeah, I can imagine, and we are also doing in the company itself an effort for people to own the add-ons or to be the godfathers of add-ons, and like a person that no, this is my add-on, I will take care of it, and to maintain it and yeah, do this, give the add-on this love that needs. But it's hard, yeah, indeed, and yeah, and what thinking also following what Érico said, now we have the tooling necessary to make the backend and the frontend work together. And it's in Cookie Plone now. You can create this add-on mono repository that takes care of the backend and the frontend part, and then set up CI, storybooks, documentation, even because we have also a scaffold for that, so you can create your Mist-based documentation also from in the same scaffold, and you are set to start, right? But then it's not only about to start and to have things ready, but also to maintain, which is the hardest part, and yeah, you have to commit to that for sure.
Hi, so I'm Alin from Romania. I work with the EA agency since 2007. And yes, we are doing a lot of add-ons. I mean, we started with EA Facet Navigation, and it was a real success in the community. And since then, we are doing add-ons. I mean, we adopted this way of building things to create add-ons, small add-ons that solves one problem. So we did that in the Python era for Plone Classic. And yeah, before we put all the repositories that were also for community on the collective space. But since Volto, we said this is very hard to maintain. I mean, having them in collective and the EA repo namespace, it was a nightmare. Then we said, okay, we publish everything, because we moved from Plone 4 to Plone 6, and when we did, and Volto, and when we did that, we said, okay, we do Volto add-ons for everything. Just you have a block, okay, you do a Volto add-on. You need a new widget, you do an add-on. Then, of course, the versioning nightmare. And before in Python world, we had the KitKat. We said, okay, we do this also in the Volto world, the JavaScript world. So we have the KitKat that we pin. So we release every add-on on npm, and we pin the versions in the KitKat. So if you need an add-on version that need to work with another add-on, you can look in the KitKat, and okay, so you don't have to put KitKat for only one add-on, but at least you can go back and see which version works with which version. We do not do major releases so often, so basically it shouldn't be breaking. Sometimes it happens, we release a minor version or a patch version, and it should be a major one, a breaking. We try to say in the changelog that this is breaking, we have a system that we auto-generate changelog based on commits and pull requests, and we also have quality checks. We have SonarQube, and so basically all pull requests, we have a Git flow, so everything we do with pull requests, it goes to SonarQube. We have Jenkins, we have coverage testing, so basically if you add new code and then the coverage goes beyond the master, then it fails, you cannot merge on master. But yes, there is a lot of improvements needed. We are still on Volto 17 with the EA website, so we are behind that. Most of the add-ons works with Volto 18, Volto 19, but as Érico said, we are still on semantic UI because we built our design system and our team based on semantic UI. There was no light team back then. And yeah, most of the add-ons are teamed with our team. But with some little tweaks, you can integrate it easily with your website. But yes, it's a lot of work. We have around 100 Volto add-ons. We have around 1,000 repositories on the EA GitHub. So yeah, and we are a bunch of people. So yeah, if you find issues, as Érico said, the add-on is not translated in your language, do a pull request, contact me on Discord, because otherwise I can easily miss that pull request, and I will find it 3 months later. But yeah, actually I found out coming in Finland that my name on Discord is a Finnish word. If you will find it on all store doors in Finland. It's Voinea, almost the same, but it means open. So I'm open for.
So it seems like we kind of dove right into the weeds here. If I was a person that just discovered this talk on YouTube and I had no clue, maybe it would be good for somebody to give, here's the basic outline of what you do to create and release a Plone add-on. And is that possible, or is it just so complicated now that there is not?
First of all, I need to do something here. You made the joke about, need to ping you on Discord. This is something, because I'm from Brazil. Brazilians usually speak our own language that's called Brazilian, not Portuguese. And most people in Brazil, besides speaking only Brazilian, they are kind of shy. And actually, they know about this Érico guy that knows these Plone people. So you have no idea how many times Wesley pinged me and said, can you, or Wesley or André, and basically, can you ping the guys from EA so they can merge my pull request? I'm not joking, that happened. And actually, I would like to apologize to Jörg from Interactive, because someone from Interactive, I believe 1 year ago, made a pull request to Volto code block to translate it to German. And time passed and I was not aware, no one pinged me. I went there, I decided to merge and everything broke. And then I tried to harass someone from all the web to make a pull request to fix stuff. They tried once and it broke again. And then I basically complained to them like, okay, it's not working. They tried a second pull request, it's still broken. And it's still broken. We do not have a German release because of German translation because of that. Sorry, that's my bad. Next time, ping someone that's going to ping me. It's like, yeah, but actually, one interesting thing that Victor said, nowadays we have Cookie Plone. Cookie Plone has the ability for you to, I want to create a new backend template, backend add-on.
Can you just say what Cookie Plone is?
Okay. Sorry. Yes. We have this tool called Cookie Plone that's used to generate Plone code bases. A Plone code base could be one of three things at the moment, and this is the moment I'm documenting what I wrote in the training. It's either an add-on, it's something that improves Plone, adds features, and so on and so forth. It could be a backend add-on, could be a front-end add-on, or could be an add-on that has backend and front-end. When you're dealing with add-ons, you need to have in mind which Plone version, which Python version, which Node version, which React version I'm maintaining this. And I need to have a matrix to test this. So I have a backend add-on. I'm supporting 6.0 and 6.1, and I'm maintaining on 3.10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So it's 8 tests that you need to run. And then we come to Volto add-ons. Nowadays, it's basically we run once and that's it. But we should be testing in 17, 18, 19, right? Meaning we need to start thinking about these matrices. And when you have an add-on that's front-end and back-end, you need to make sure they work together. Okay. Add-on is one thing. Second thing is a Plone distribution that's basically a packaging of Plone. I'm not going to dive into this, but most people, they do not use Plone. Actually, I'm still looking someone that uses Plone. What they do is they get Plone and add a bunch of add-ons and so on and so forth, and they make Plone their own, and they deploy. If you're a company, probably you have a template to do that. And that's a distribution. Io Comune is one. EA has like a factory of sites. Kit Concept has 2 or 3 things like that, and so on and so forth. Every successful Plone company developed a distribution, even though they were not called distribution in the day, and so on. But Quave is a good example. Castle, another good example. In Brazil, we have Portal Padrão and Portal Modelo. The third possible code base is a project. A project, I basically go from one of the distributions and I create something for one specific use case. It's my company website, it's my blog, it's the intranet, it's the conference site, and I'm testing in one Plone version, one Python version, one Volto version, because, I'm not going to think how this is going to look like in Volto 25, because I'm deploying just one thing, so a project is this. That being said, Cookie Plone generates code bases. These are the 3 types. Let's dive into add-ons. You can create a backend add-on. You can create a front-end add-on. And this is something like we have already in place some nice settings, but honestly, they need some love. The README needs some love in there. The tests, the initial tests, they need some love. We need someone to basically say, this should be a nice naming, and so on. And then when we do that for backend and frontend, we try our best to generate a code base that's going to be meaningful for someone. And when we were discussing about that, David was part of the discussion, Victor as well, I believe Piero at some point, we basically said, okay, if I have a monorepo that has a backend add-on, a front-end add-on, I have just one version. It's like Volto Light Team, it's version 7.3.1 for the front-end and for the backend. Why? Because if I do anything different than this, I should be testing in a matrix way. Basically saying, this version of Volto form block works with that many versions of collective Volto form support. And that would be insane because collective Volto form support also supports many Plone versions and many Python versions. And then this becomes like a geometric progression and it becomes insane. It's impossible to maintain. So the decision to have for monorepo add-ons, backend and frontend, there's one version. I heard people saying, but I did not change the front end. Yes, we know. You make a release that say nothing changed, but you release it. And people basically say, there's a new version of the front end, new version of the back end. Easy, and you save yourself some trouble. Of course, to do that, we had to develop something called Repo Plone to make this release happen at the same time, create the change logs and so on and so forth. That being said, we have the tool set, but we do not have, what we do not have is like a really good quality of the readmes or even the tests. For instance, 2 weeks ago, I gave a training. I was explaining the CI for a project, like how it works. And someone said, but that's complex, many steps. And then I decided to show the CI for Volto Light Team. Right? And tell us how Volto Light Team is currently tested. What do we test in there?
Well, we have first we start with linting, right?
We have backend.
Yeah, backend and frontend. So and they start in parallel, right? And front-end one side, back-end the other. We start with linting in both sides. When linting is done, at the same time we're creating the images to win some time, some CI time, which is always good to win and to keep it low. When images are done and linting are done, and only if these two premises are true, then we are starting testing acceptance, right? And the visual regression, because we have that in VLT as well, and those start in parallel. So they started. What? Accessibility also. Yeah. Oh, and now a storybook as well, because we added visual regression not only on the real side, but also on storybook stories, because it's, we are testing isolated components in there as well. So a bunch of probably 2,000 of images or machines are being spawned at that point. And when everything's green, then I think that's it. We made the final images, and we released the final images in there, and deployments.
You forgot
afterwards.
about documentation.
Yes,
We
also
have
test
documentation being deployed as well.
Yeah.
And tell what is a storybook and why people should use the front-end developers.
Yeah, Storybook is a tool that is very popular also in the front-end world, because in fact, it's not only a React-only tool, but it's able to prototype, because it's a prototyping tool. In fact, there's those people, and I did at some point I even did that. So you can develop in Storybook without launching your real thing, because you prototype your components in this tool. And as long as you keep, you are developing, of course, this tool has hot reload and things like that, and you see the outcome right away. And since it's a prototyping tool, you can also assign actions and behavior to that prototyping, and then and test, which is more important, to test your component in a different scenarios, giving different props. So you can have different stories, and these different stories get different props, and you don't have to go to your app and force those props doing something. So no, you have this prototyping environment when you can say, okay, now my prop is color green or variant primary, and then you see the outcome. And it's very useful. And as I said, there's people that only develops in Storybook, and then, of course, it will work in your application if you did the job right in that place. So we have that also for a Storybook, and we try to have as many stories for our add-ons. But yeah, I mean, it's at the end is yet another tooling and another tool that you have in your tool belt, but it's very, very useful, and you manage to develop quite quickly, and you see things that probably you miss when you don't have the ability to test all the different combinations of props, right? And we are also testing that nowadays, and added as a documentation, because later on you have the stories as documentation. So for example, this is something that we want also to stress out during the conference, that is that we have an official storybook for Volto today, and we are creating storybooks for Plone components, and for everything that we are doing in 7 as well. So we have already that. They are already published, so they are public sites for that. And you can see as a developer, okay, if I want to put an accordion in here, what should I do? And then you see the story, and then you can, you do know how it works, and you can copy paste the code and into your component directly. And it's a very good documenting tool. So I encourage you to delve into this tool and create your own stories for your components, things like that. And in VLT, we are also testing against that. Yeah.
And generate documentation and so on and so forth. So yeah.
We have about 10 minutes left, so it'd be nice if there were questions or conversation items from the audience that we could throw in here. Does anybody want to ask a question or stimulate some discussion. It occurs to me that what you all are just saying would discourage anyone from ever wanting to create a Plone add-on. So I'm wondering if, I mean, when you say we, you know, it sounds like a concept thing. It's not like there's a standard Plone thing.
In this case, no. Oh, yeah, I was.
Anyway,
When I said we now, I was referring to 7 and to community efforts and in
right
Volto.
now, if I want to create, maybe someone could
It
say
works.
the simplest possible way as a new person, not associated with a company that has an itch they want to scratch and they want to create an add-on. What do they do to create a new Plone add-on? Did somebody?
You run UVX cookie Plone, and then select the option third.
Which is?
And it's front-end add-on with Volto, right? And then you generate a code base, and then you fill the questions.
Classic add-on?
The classic add-on is option 4.
Option 4, which is?
Yes,
you
backend.
said 3 options.
No, we have many options now. And actually, this is interesting.
Before, you
no,
said
no,
there
no.
were 3 options.
No. The first option is Volto project. The second one is classic project.
Okay.
Then it's add-on, and then documentation, and then there's something else. But yeah,
Okay, so that's how you generate it.
exactly.
And now I'm finished. I made the code.
You
What
code.
do I do to test it? What do I do to release it?
Most of the stuff are there already. The examples and documentation. You need to basically write your code in there. Okay, the writing the code is something else. I'm not going to that, but you go there, put on GitHub. Ideally, if you can, in the collective, because it's a nice place for everyone to find.
Explain what the collective is.
Collective is this GitHub organization maintained by the Plone community, not related to the Plone Foundation, even though there's a intersection there. But the Plone community maintains that. It's a place where you put your add-ons. There are many other organizations in GitHub with add-ons, but usually it creates a barrier for people to contribute. You put in there, you run make release, and I believe that works most places, like backend and frontend, the generated code base, and then you publish that.
How,
Wha-
where? How, where?
How?
Publish it where?
Oh, that's a really good question. If it's a Python Plone backend add-on, it goes to PyPI. You need to have an account before and so on. If it is a front-end add-on, it goes to npm.org. And if it's both, you use repo Plone to publish to both at the same time.
And then how do you get people to know? Tell about the awesome Plone and awesome.
Awesome Plone and also Volto. Right now, this is the only way.
What they are and where they are.
We have 2 repositories on collective called also Plone and also Volto that you can make a pull request and announce your add-on in there. One important thing about this is it's not the best possible way because you have hundreds of add-ons. If you add hundreds of add-ons in there, like it's a nightmare. I usually tell people, I want to find Volto add-ons. Go to npm, search for Volto add-on, and then there's a list. It's not a nice user interface, but it's something. One thing I just want to say is what we have with Voltolite team, it's like the ideal world of a solution that's being maintained by a team of 10 people and so on. But the bare minimum we should have, it's a nice README. Should be a storybook for the front end. It should be tests, and especially honestly, I think the important thing is the README. And this is where I would love volunteers to help us on the sprint to say, this should be the README of a front-end package. This should be a README of a back-end package. This should be a README for the repository, and that's it. Okay? Sorry for talking a lot.
And you had a question, or you want to? Should we try to
Yes,
pass
we need
this?
to.
Thank you.
So sitting on the other side of this equation, installing add-ons. So we've been doing Plone sites for quite a while, mostly smaller sites. And we started off every new thing we saw we installed. That bit us a few times. We now have kind of a known good set. And that's a very basic heuristic. Is it done by companies with people sitting in front here? That's a good heuristic, that it's going to be supported in future. Things like Awesome Plone, it's great. But again, that heuristic kind of tells us this is going to be something that we can upgrade in 2 or 3 years and it will run fine. So effectively, we have a known good set. Distributions make that easier. Is there a way to kind of get to that? Given the tools that you have, if you're not developing your own add-ons, other than the heuristic.
To get to like a known good set that you would kind of your own distribution.
Yeah, I because I work with EA KitKat for such a long time, I assume that KitKat is but indeed it comes from the known good set. I mean, before in Classic we had the KGS distribution, and now it's called KitKat. So for Volto and for our add-ons, it's called KitKat. Also on frontend and backend, and there we maintain the versions of add-ons that works together, DA add-ons, of course.
So this is sort of like what he was
Yeah,
doing for his
it's a
company, maybe for your
KGS.
company.
Actually, the
And
KitKat
his
is
question is what is the easiest process to do that? Is that kind of what you're...
We have 1 minute and I'm going to give you the solution. It's basically Sally. Sally is the solution. A few years ago, she used to run these contests for add-ons. And I remember in Tokyo, but yeah, it was kind of depressing because, let's pick the best add-on of the add-on of the year. And every year it was faceted navigation. Yes, it's like, okay, it's so amazing. But that means I think we should go back to having people that are not the developers. Basically, you just volunteer, Sally volunteer as well, to go take a look at the add-ons, try to understand, see if they, and basically grade them. Like, okay, I can understand what this does, and so on and so forth. And does it have like a minimum, like a showcase? And we should have that, and it should not be done by the people that create the add-ons. Because, come on, it's hard for people to basically evaluate. I usually look at some of the stuff and I say, I really want to do that. But again, it's hard, it's time and so on. But if someone basically says, your add-on sucks because there's no storybook in here, gamification is going to save us in this aspect.
In addition to that, which I fondly remember the add-on contest in Tokyo. It was good, and I really thought, why isn't that a thing anymore? I think we're going back to the fact that we need to raise like awareness on the add-ons, right? So my closing remark would be, my personal one would be, maybe if you built an add-on or used an add-on that you liked, do a lightning talk at a conference about it. That's like the perfect way of spending 5 minutes, right? And if you're not going to the conference, have somebody else talk about it. Maybe you know somebody in the community that that used it. Maybe you know somebody in the marketing team, wink, wink, that can have, I don't know, videos, short videos about add-ons. This is me offering a suggestion that I just came up with. But World Plone Day. Yeah, World Plone Day is another great opportunity to talk about whatever you have been doing. Short presentations about your add-on are just fine. You just need to let people know that they exist. Show up at the Plone tune-up days. Yes.
I'm sorry, we're running out of time right now, but we have time for one short question.
Okay, one more.
One short question.
Sorry, Matt Damon, we have to bump you.
One short question.
It's more of a follow-up comment from the other side. I mean, that promote your add-ons, yes, for people who are creating them. For people who want to know what add-ons to use, don't be afraid to post on community.plone.org and say, how are people solving this problem with Plone right now? What add-ons are you using? Is there something I should know about?
That's amazing.
I think we all just need to communicate a little bit more what questions we have and what solutions we're finding. I mean, the value of the community is in sharing all of that from both sides.
And yeah, just say something. Tomorrow, ASCO is going to give a talk about how to build conference sites with Plone. It's about an add-on. ASCO was not aware of that, but yeah. But yeah, this is, I think we're done, right? Yeah.
A final thing I want to say is that there is something that we don't do in the community, or at least I'm not aware of that. Every time that I want to test drive a library, the first thing that I do is going to GitHub and see two things. First, the stars, and second, how often it was updated or the and this is the minimum thing, right? Like, because going with other types of things, because we had the Paragon project, you remember, or the products. I don't remember how it was called. The products. Exactly. Yeah. And yeah, they weren't successful, right? But this small thing that is so easy to do, I think that we should do more stars, and we should, yeah. Also, what David also proposed, that we should know ourselves.
Yeah, it was kind of good when it was all on plone.org and you had total control over all that. Very simple. Anyway, if you're interested in this stuff more, and I had no idea that people were missing those add-on contests, and we could sure do that again. So anyway, come talk to me or any one of these guys about your ideas for add-ons.
Can we go forward? Thank you, everybody. We will have a short break now. At 12, Fred Wandig will have his presentation about behind the screens, the state and direction of Plone community IT.